Hi, welcome, welcome, welcome. So we wanted to put together a few quick videos. And the first one is going to be how to work with candles. So I am Granddaughter Croak, the founding CEO of the Eagle Heart Foundation. And I have with me today Alanna, the vice president of the board. And we are going to do some quick little videos on how to work with some magical items that you may have, just quick ideas. And of course, if you have more ideas and would like to subscribe and maybe comment, please feel free, because I think it's really great to be able to do things as a community and learn and grow with each other. So we're going to talk about working with candles. Alanna, how do we work with candles? I think my first thought as far as candles go is we work with candles on birthdays, at Christmas, for celebrations, romantic dinners. So there's a lot of fluidity with it. But one of the things that I like to do is I like a candle to focus my energy, and I like a candle to do a working, and so maybe you can help us to figure out what that is. And sometimes I work with candles to bring light into a situation or something like that. But in general, we work with candles just as the human race, all throughout cultures, religious backgrounds, romantically, for surprise parties, all of that. So, but how do we make these candles sacred? How do we do this with intention? How do we work with candles magically?
That's a great point that you brought up. With they're really a universal symbol. We see them in churches, we see them in synagogues, we see them in mosques, we see them on birthday candles, cakes, and all of that kind of stuff. So they are really a universal symbol. And for whatever reason, they do carry a connotation of making something special or magical in a way. So one way that I really like to start off with my candle magic is understanding the intention of my work and picking a candle color from there. White is a really good catch-all color. Pink or reds are really good for love magic. Greens and yellows are really good for money. Black and white is really good for protection. So really just generally, there's a lot of different information out there, and you can also pick whatever feels personal to you. If maybe when you were a kid, you had a purple safety blanket that was kind of what made you feel safe, maybe purple is a color that you associate with protection, so you can use it with that. And to start with a candle, I like to take the candle and just kind of roll it in my hands and kind of heat up the wax a little bit. It helps me to put my energy and my intention into the candle. You kind of focus what you're wanting into that candle. You'll notice that the wax is going to get a little bit soft. It might start to feel like your hands are a little bit waxy. And also, depending on the sheen of your candle, it might start to look a little bit duller, which is kind of what you want, because it just shows that that wax is being warmed and manipulated in some way. And it's also a physical way of transferring energy into the candle. Then once you feel like it's nice and charged with that, the wax is soft enough. If you want to carve something into the candle, you can. So you could just write protection, or maybe to you want to draw a shield on the candle, or a lock and a key for security, anything like that. You can even use runes, ogham, any kind of sigils that somebody might make as a witch, or anything like that, and just put it on the candle using either a pen or a pin, or even an unfolded paper clip. Whatever you have handy is really, really great. And then you just set that intention, you put it in your holder, and you light the candle, and you've pretty much got a spell from there. You can do more with it with your spell if you want to, or you can just kind of set the intention with that candle and light it and just focus on it until you feel like you've done enough work with that candle and you can snuff it out.
I love it. So that's another good point. I guess there is a school of thought that you let the candle burn totally down. There's a school of thought that you snuff it out versus blowing it out. And so what would you say, just because there are different ways of looking at it, what are like the most basic thoughts and ideas around that?
So for me personally, I prefer to snuff out my candles, mainly because I like to scry in the candle flame and into the smoke. So I get a good amount of plume off of the traditional snuffer way of doing it. I'm not afraid of candle flames. Sometimes I'll just lick my fingers and snuff it out if I can't find my snuffer. I don't recommend that for everybody. But there are some people who say if you're going to blow out your candle, you should do it with intention. Because a lot of times when we blow out a candle, it's just because, oh, I forgot that was lit, and we blow it out and we're not thinking about the connotation that has. So as long as you really do whatever you're doing with intention, I think it's up to the individual user to choose what their method is.
I absolutely love it. And just, basic things, if you have a candle and you're going to leave it, make sure that you understand that it is a flame and it is a fire, and to make sure that it's in a place that is going to be safe for your household. I know sometimes we get so carried away in the magic that we forget common sense. And so we need to, remember that. And I absolutely love that. I work with candles. I have a big candle and it's a scented candle. And every time it gets dark in the evening time, I light it to fill up the glow and bring that beauty into the household. And when I light it, I charge that candle with that beauty, healing energy, protection energy, love energy, peace energy. And so when I do that, I light it every night. And then before I retire or go to sleep, I'll snuff them out. Another thought that I just had is I love incense. And so a lot of times with an intentional candle, if you want to, you could even, after you get it going and do all the magic that we're talking about and put it in there and you've got your intention, if you want to, like if you're doing protection or something like that, you can take a piece of incense with that intention of protection, blessing, prosperity, love. And then you can take that incense and you could walk around your dwelling with it, or maybe your room, or just let it blow, because it's kind of it's working with the flame itself to bring in more manifestation. Any thoughts on that? Or
I love that. I do that a lot. And I remember I used to do it just kind of without thinking about it. Like I was doing it more of, oh, well, why you use another match when I already have the candle lit? And then I realized how much more powerful it would be if I lit that incense with intention from the candle, because then it just doubles the magic. And you mentioned the scented candles. Scent is another thing that carries a lot of really magical connotations. Different oils and herbs are good for different magical things. So maybe if I'm doing a money spell, I will take a green candle and anoint it with something like oak moss oil, which is really good for attracting money. And the way that I typically do it, and again, this is my personal way, it's not a universal rule. If you want to do it a different way or whatever works for you, absolutely do it that way. The way that I've always anointed my candles, if I'm drawing something to myself, I start at the top of the candle and I move the oil down to the base, because I'm pulling that energy in. If I'm doing something like sending away negative energy, like an uncrossing or a banishing spell, I'll take that oil and I'll move it up and away from myself to the top of the candle. And again, there are some people who start in the middle and go both ways. There's some people that just kind of roll it all around. There's no right or wrong way. It's just whatever you're comfortable with. I will say there are certain oils, particularly spice and citrus oils. If you want to anoint your candle with them, I recommend doing it with either a Q-tip or a cotton swab, just because those oils can make you photosensitive. They can make you more prone to sunburns, and on sensitive enough skin, they can actually raise blisters. So just be really careful with the essential oils that you're using if you're anointing a candle with your hands.
I love that. That's really practical. And then one last thing. So when you say that you scry into the flame or you scry into the smoke, could you define what does scrying mean, and how one might do that and what you get from it? What is that experience?
So scrying is a form of divination that essentially means to gaze into the surface of. A lot of people will be familiar with this, of that old trope of the fortune teller with the crystal ball. Like that is what scrying is. Unfortunately, it's not going to be like Scooby-Doo where you have this like swirling mist and then like these very clear images appear. That's not really how it works. But you can scry in anything. You can scry in water, you can scry in crystals, you can scry in clouds. I personally really like to see smoke because it kind of transforms as it billows and as it moves. And you can also kind of see, based on the thickness of the smoke and how long it lasts, different things. Like if you're working through a spell and the smoke kind of lingers, it's probably because that smoke is carrying some of that energy. It's still working through whatever you were working on. You can sometimes, I have a very distinct memory. I was doing an empowerment ritual, and as I was watching the smoke, I saw what looked like a little rabbit just kind of darting through the smoke. And then as it started to get taller, it elongated and turned into a dragon. And so I saw that and I was like, oh, okay. So I've been running around like the rabbit and I need to be more stable and steady and flow the way that a dragon flows and things like that. I remember being at a ritual where put the fire out and the smoke crept over the fence and turned into, you saw it was like a dragon. It literally looked like a serpentine body just slithering through the streets. And that was crazy because that smoke never really went up except to go over the fence. It was the craziest thing I'd ever seen. And to me, it was just like, all right, we just threw some stuff down, and that is some powerful working that we did.
I love it. I love it. So with all of that, these are just little quick tips on how to work with candles and your intention. And I just wanted to say thank you, Alanna, and we will be back with some more tips and tricks.
Thank you.